Hi, my name is Dan Holmes, and I'd like to take a moment and thank you for stopping by my website and visiting with, allowing me a chance to visit with you and share my story with you, what used to be kind of an awkward experiences in my life. These experiences are an accumulation of over 60 years of having interaction with people misunderstanding my hands. When I hold my hands up, if you look at my hands the way I'm holding my hands, you can't see the difference between my hands. I've asked this to dozens, if not hundreds of people, said, what's the difference in my hands? What difference do you see in my hands? And other than the fact somebody will say, well, this one finger here is bigger than the other finger, but they'll look and they'll look, and they can't see anything different in my hands. And I said, you can't see it, can you? You really can't see it, can you? And they'll look and they'll look and they'll look. And then when I take my hands and I turn them around slowly like this, I notice every single time that I've done this, and I had this conversation with people, every single time that I've done this, I'm looking at blank faces. They can't believe what they're seeing in my hands. And, you know, I don't mind having a birth defect. I really don't. It's, you know, a birth defect is, you know, something that I was born with. It was God given to me. And for whatever reason, to have a birth defect with the stigma associated with it, that, you know, having to learn through my entire life what a stigma was, is, you know, it's been kind of awkward. This has really been an awkward part of my life. And I've had to do damage control. I've had to try to, you know, most of the guys that I grew up with thought my hand was pretty cool. They had different kinds of names for it. And a lot of the gals that I grew up around didn't know how to take it. And I often thought in my entire life, you know, to have a birth defect is one thing, and I can deal with the birth defect. But to have a birth defect that has a gesture, a connotation, and a gesture associated with it, that's a negative gesture. It's been a negative gesture for so long. It's really been difficult at times to deal with. And I've often wondered, I've asked God many times in my life, why did God make me, did you make me this way? I have no idea. I mean, all the things that could have been birth defect, I'll take this, no problem. But why was I born like this? I have no idea. And I quit asking God about, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago, why was I born like this? And then this past December, I had an accident to my arm. The accident actually caused some soft tissue injury to my arm, and having the soft tissue injury to my arm gave me an opportunity. I had to go to the hospital because apparently it was swelling up so fast, and you can look on the website, see the pictures of my arm. It was swelling up so fast that I actually had ruptured veins in my arm, and it needed to have some medical attention right away. And I went to the hospital to have my arm x-rayed to make sure it wasn't a broken bone, just soft tissue injury. And fortunately, I had a radiologist at the hospital. After he shot a picture of my arm, and he looked at my hand, he said, of course, like all guys do, they say, this is pretty cool. You know, this is pretty cool. I said, you're about as curious about this as I am. And he said, well, sure. I said, okay. In the x-ray room there, I put my hand down on the x-ray machine, and said, let's shoot a picture of this. Let's shoot us a picture, see what this hand looks like. So we shot us a picture. And, oops, sorry about that. Gave me a copy of this. Gave me a copy. I got a copy of my hand here. I don't think you can see this. It's no big deal. But gave me a copy of this. And I was looking at my hand, and you know, it's one thing, and you can see a better picture of this image on the website. But it's one thing for me to see my hand in real life. But as I was walking out of the parking lot of the hospital, looking at my picture of my hand in the sunlight, holding it up there, I said, you know, even to me, it looks kind of cool. It's kind of weird, but it looks kind of cool to me. And I got thinking, like, is this really where this is going to go? Is this what the rest of the story is going to be? And it kind of dawned on me that all of my entire life, this 60-some years of dealing with my hand as a birth defect, dealing with damage control, dealing with all these awkward situations that I've gotten involved in all these years, that I actually figured out a way, I saw a way to tell a story. And the story is related to that, you know, we're all born special. Everybody on this earth, and God gave you certain things that are only you can deal with, that only you can manage. God gave us certain things that, for whatever reason, we don't know why He made us the way that He made us. And I have no idea why, you know, certain things happen to me, as I'm sure a lot of things have happened to you. But everything happens to us for the good. Everything God intends for good. And I thought, what good can I do out of this? And it kind of dawned on me, in looking at my life's experiences, and what I've done with this throughout my entire life is that I've always tried to take this and take what people have understood to be something negative, since I don't think like this, I think like this, taking something that people misunderstand or take to be negative and turning it into something positive, which is what I did. I got a positive mental attitude, I always had a positive mental attitude. This is my hand is my physical property. X-ray in my hand is also under HIPAA as my physical property. And taking my lifetime of experiences and relating these experiences to positive applications, I can tell my story. And telling my story in a positive frame of mind and using it for good. And what I'd like to do is, my intention of taking the stories of my life and my experiences is using my stories of people misunderstanding my hands and seeing what I could do to dilute the energy associated with this gesture, so that every time that's in the future, as my story gets spread around and my story gets told, that every time somebody gives the gesture of this to somebody as an insult, I can turn this into a joke. Why not turn this into a joke? I've even had a few people that I've talked to, even in the past, even yesterday, for example, somebody shared my story with a couple of days ago. And he would say he was driving down the road, he passed somebody that was kind of irritating in the driving, passed him on the side of the road, they gave him the finger. And what's the first thing he said that he told me that he thought of when somebody gave him the finger? He thought about my story and he just laughed. Now, I think I can take this and make this kind of funny, make this a joke. And that's what I'm looking for you all to do too, to help me spread this story, tell my story, and let's see what we can do to take my story and take this and make this to be, let's take the energy out of this as much as we can. Let's use positive energy and not negative energy over here.